Welcome to The Naked Truth. Oh my gosh, 2 episodes in 2 weeks. How exciting is that? So here on The Naked Truth, we talk about the things that are the truths of life. We reveal what we hide, the things that we keep hidden, the things that we keep private, the things that alienate us, that separate us, and also the things that could heal us, help us, and also connect us and empower us if we only spoke about them. So today I have the wonderful, the amazing, the delicious Jaimee Leigh Curtis. I will bring her on in 2 seconds. So Jaimee is, she's a mentor and women's work facilitator, and her mission is so divine. Her mission is to guide women to unleash and live through the full expression of their feminine essence, through experiencing real inner beauty, lasting confidence, and deep self-love. She is so excited. I know she's excited to get on. She's so excited to have this conversation and talk about all things inner beauty, real inner beauty, confidence, and self-love to connect, to lead, and love through the core feminine essence to allow women to have wildly fulfilled lives. I am bringing her on to camera right.
Here she comes. This beautiful goddess is absolutely amazing, and I've known her for a little while now. Here she is. Hello. Can you hear me?
She is.
I was just cutting out a little bit. Thank you
Oh
so
my
much for having me. I'm so
gosh, thank you
excited to
for
be here.
coming on. It's such a pleasure. I always love chatting with you. So beautiful. You look amazing, by the way. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm sat in front of the natural light. I was doing my makeup. I sit in front of the mirror. It's a bit of a ritual for me. And I was like, when I get on, I just feel like telling everyone, like everyone that follows you that's on your page already knows and loves you. But like, I was like, I'm so excited to have this conversation. And like, just this woman is next level, the real deal. And when I see you, when I see your posts, when we converse, when we like in all of our ways, whether it be in friendship or like businessy mission stuff or at events, like I always feel like I come home, and you just, for me, are the embodiment of what the allness of the feminine is. And I just feel so honored to be able to come on you here and have this conversation with you, because our missions are like parallel, side by side. We walk together. And I
I
just
fucking
fucking
love
love you. So
you.
thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having
Jaimee
me
Leigh
here.
Curtis, everyone. Oh my gosh. And amazing. I love that you've jumped on here and you just showered me with love. Oh, so divine. Thank you so much, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love you. Oh my goodness. And I am a full fuck yes to all that you just mentioned about our missions being the same. I love what you do. I feel
Yep.
like the deeper you step into your radiance, your power, your femininity, it really allows me to really dive deeper into mine. And I feel like it's a reciprocal thing. And it's so beautiful to be walking this journey with you. And yeah, I love it. I love it so much. So we've had a few people jump on. I just want to say hello to everyone. Krishla, Jeanette, Eloise,
Yes.
Anna, hello everyone. Ladies,
Hi,
gentlemen,
Eloise.
if you're
Oh,
watching,
these women are like
I
juicy
know, if you're
women.
watching, oh my gosh, if you have any questions for Jaimee along the way, please pop them in the comment box and I will be sure to see if I can
Yeah.
ask them for her as well. So I've done a little intro on you, the beautiful Jomo. Can you please tell everyone, because today we're going to speak about real inner beauty, and I know that you've had a background in makeup and
Mm.
do you know what I feel I need to hand it over to you. So please, can you share a little bit about where you've come from and what
Mm.
real inner beauty means to you?
Mm. Yeah. So I feel to share that the woman that you see, confident, radiant, bright, wasn't always this way. And in fact, the disempowered and the self-criticism and self-hatred and wanting to change myself and not knowing who I was, let alone liking that person, like disregarding whatever self-love fucking meant, really struggled and really felt like a misfit and an outcast and didn't know where she kind of fit in the world. And that caused a lot of suffering and like self-loathing and disabled me from really living fully. And this journey, we all have our journeys along the way. I believe that our childhoods and our journeys and all the things that happen along the way are here happening for us so that we can grow into and hold the life that we're calling in. And so it's been this beautiful unraveling, but it started for me really at like 19, when I'd never felt as beautiful or as confident or as like alive as when I had my makeup done professionally. And I only had my makeup done professionally because you got it redeemed in product on the makeup counter. And it was just crazy. And while, like the idea of going on a makeup counter and like having my makeup done by these epically beautiful goddesses that had their makeup done, and I felt really kind of self-conscious, the exchange was enough for me to try it a few times. And when I did, I'd go out and I'd just come alive. I'd be out partying with my girlfriends, but I couldn't work out what the formula for confidence was. And at the time, with my level of awareness, it was like, oh, it's makeup. It's like, it's this thing, so I'm just going to keep kind of learning this thing. And, at the time, there wasn't anything between a one-day, one-size-fits-all workshop and becoming a makeup artist. And so in my final year of business school, which was like the opposite, I decided to become a makeup artist and kind of learn. And really, it was for my own skills. It was like, I want to be able to turn my confidence on when I choose to. And, that was when I was like 22 and I'm now 30. And so the unraveling of the last 8 years has been kind of turning these tools on and learning that these tools help to start the journey. But really, there's so much deeper in here. And how do we truly, truly love ourselves when we're coming from a place of like, what the fuck does that even mean? And we're bombarded with society's expectations of this one body type and this one way to do things, and like healthy looks like this crazy standard of these like fitness models. And you've got models posting pictures postpartum of their bodies going back to normal, and we're just like given this one slither of the pie of what the feminine looks like in society. And she conforms and she looks a certain way and she sounds a certain way. And I'm sorry, but it cuts out the full spectrum. And like, if you've been following Lauren for a long time, or you've spent any time with either of us, you know that there's a full fucking spectrum, and it's much more than this slither. And she's wild and she's fiery and she's like all the fucking things. And
oh my God, I'm sitting here just like feeling my full body. That's fucking delicious.
Oh, I'm feeling it too.
Yes.
And you know what I feel, Lauren? It's like you and I are on this mission together to fucking share the message and wake society up to what this full spectrum of the feminine is, so that we can lead with her, we can love with her, connect to and even trust her, so that we can fully live through that full expression. And through that full expression comes the wild fulfillment. And it's not about just the feminine rising. It wakes our men up. If you speak to any man that's done a little bit of work on himself, he'll say that the feminine life force, when his woman is tapped the fuck in, he's alive.
Yes. Oh, I'm just feeling all of that run through my body.
I am too. I'm like,
can we just like I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I really want to emphasize that piece that you just mentioned about when we're tapped the fuck in for our feminine essence, it is a magnetism, and it is a magnetism for the masculine in their full strength and their full power. And that's where it fucking is. Yep. And it's so important because, you know, you mentioned that we navigate our lives through trying to be all these things that we see from the outside for that exact result, because that's what we want. Yet the actual very thing is tapping the fuck in to our feminine essence. And it's so powerful. Krishla's just said there is such a gap between puberty to age, and the work you are both doing with women now is beginning to bridge that gap. Thank you, women. Thanks, Krishla. Beauty. It also wakes our children up. Yes, it totally wakes our children up. Hey, Tess. It's so true. And Eloise has just said, my husband loves seeing me in my power. It is hard. Yes, fuck yes, full fuck yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so I want to ask you then, how did you connect that in with self-love and self-confidence, and how does that connect into self-love and self-confidence? Because it's one thing to speak about feminine power, but what is it, and how does it connect into all those things?
Yeah, fuck yeah, great question, Lauren, great question. So I first want to presence this with, when I was awakening or going through my journey, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever your journey to this conversation has been, I know that you've been on a journey, and my journey looked like not being really frustrated when I saw the videos or the speakers or the things where it's like 5 steps. And I just like, you know, broke up with my husband, or like I had a divorce and then I just like awakened and now I'm like a millionaire. And like, it was just like that. And I would just sit in the audience seething at like, yeah, but how? Because I know that there's something there, but I don't know what that path is. Give me like, and your 5 fucking steps, like, I'm sorry, that wasn't, like, it wasn't a full body. It wasn't embodied. It wasn't, you know, and that was just, you know, probably my choice of mentors at the time, but like that was the unraveling. And so what I was really committed to was like making it really practical and like having the unspoken conversations, because what I hated more than anything was these light, fluffy, surface level things that weren't talking about the depth of our being. And when I started through this journey, I started finding people that were somewhat touching on this depth, and then I was able to translate so I've got this concept. It's mine, and it's still unraveling, but let me just share it with you now. And Lauren will get this. She'll be like a full body fuck yes to this. So this for me is like surface. Imagine this like the surface of the earth. Then you've got all the trees, and you've got all like the prettiness and the birds and all the things living up here. And you've got the roots and the earth and like the nutrients and all the things that create this, right? So we play up here and we say, oh, there's the house and the car and the millions of dollars and all the things. This is how you think the things, right? And people think that you can just come along and like create from this. But what they forget, and this isn't everyone, but if you're called to this conversation, this is you. And this for me is the feminine and source and the spirit of the divine feminine. She starts here. And in these depths are our beliefs, our ancestral lines, our embodiment practices, the things that we need to go into, meet and clear, somewhat like the darkness that we get to transmute into light. And that's when we create the magic of what our life can be. And so I was listening to all of this and going, nobody's meeting me in this. What the fuck does this look like? And I would meet this in space at like deep sacred spaces that were like uber spiritual and like esoteric. And I'm like, that makes no sense to the world. I'm really committed to bringing this to the world in a practical way. And so I started to see some of the synergies between this, for example, tools, movement, sound, makeup, meditation, feminine ways, not like the masculine, feminine, like, ooh, I'm moving and I'm sounding and I'm in my body, and having, because they're the pieces that aren't celebrated, right? Because there's 2 different There's two different things. There's the woman, there's the feminine and the masculine. So when I started seeing this and I started going like this, I was like, cool. How do we take women on the journey that maybe aren't called to go and sit in a sacred women's circle or sit with plant medicine, or like, what are these tools that are in our society up here, the trees, the shiny things, that we can take and use to start to just invite them into these deeper places that'll help them unlock the inner stuff that unlocks their radiance, their feminine energy, and their essence that's pure and unique to them. So my fiery feminine, or my feminine full stop, looks different to Lauren. We've got some similar flavors, you and I love that about us. But we're unique, and every other woman is unique too. And so taking some of these tools, like makeup, like movement, like the inner work, the mindset work, like, what does beauty even mean? And I've had women go, oh, fuck, that means that I'm going to be attacked, or I'm going to be a target. I'm going to get attention that I don't want because that's too scary. So I hide and I don't want to feel beautiful. So we cut off that energy, that life force that wants to run through us, because we've got beliefs, ancestral patterns, things that are stopping us from being seen because they're keeping us safe, which is so beautiful. But what it is about bringing awareness to some of this in a way that's like an invitation, not an off the cliff deep dive, but an invitation to just meet yourself in some of these places a little bit deeper, where you're ready to go, and your soul will be calling. You'll have some body stuff going on. You might have that going on right now with this conversation. That's just like an invitation to meet yourself in some deeper places. And it's so beautiful. And I don't know about you, Lauren, I know that this is probably true, but when we meet women that are just at that place, it's just like, yes, there's about to be this unraveling, this pedaling of the flower of you just coming into all that you are and all that you came here to be. And so I hope you can answer the question well.
Yeah.
Was it useful?
And I really want to add a piece just to the end there that you said. Oh my God, what do I touch on? So first and foremost, I want to really emphasize the analogy that you've just expressed of, we couldn't survive here without the earth. And what I interpreted from what you just said is, we look at all these things on the surface and we play on the surface level, but the truth of it actually exists in her. And that's in us as well. We are Mama Earth, and we're taking everything from the outside in because that's how we've been conditioned. But really, it starts from here. It starts from within ourselves. So I really want to, that's such a beautiful analogy that you've just dropped. And I really feel it so much. So thank you for that. And secondly, I want to speak into the part around how you said when we're all in, as women, when we're dropped into that feminine essence, it is a full body fuck yes, because we're in support mode. I feel like, for me personally anyway, when I wasn't, I would compare and I'd drop into comparison, and then that would be a separation from me wanting to connect in with women. But when I'm in that full body, like, let's just be in the juiciness that is us and our femininity. Like, it's such a beautiful flow that I'm able to connect in with women. And I know you and I have had this beautiful conversation where you've triggered me because you've been so in your femininity, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But it's because my femininity is calling me to really drop into that power place and be in that, to connect, because outside of that, I was separating. So I wanted to touch on that because I know a lot of women that I work with lay in comparison and separation and alienation.
Wow.
And it's really, truly a space when we drop into, it knocks all of that out of the way, like fucking pins going down in a bowling game. It's just so potent.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you touched on this, Lauren, because I want to presence and say that I still fall into comparison. And, and even just this week, like a real life example is my boyfriend's going to a festival for 5 days this weekend with our tribe, epic tribe. amazing women, amazing humans. And it was a call for me not to go. And so first and foremost, it was the strength for me to say no and be like, fuck, I'm like, my family's going and I'm not. And that's what's aligned for me. And the second piece is like, oh, like this kind of my little girl, my teenage girls, like, oh, what if, you know, like all these things. And like, I don't know, any of you know Eric, like he's completely and utterly in love with me like crazy. And I'm completely in love with him. But there's still those pieces of like comparison and like things that kind of come up. And so I just want to presence to everyone that it's still alive for all of us. And the practice for me is just about it being less of the time and it not being like, okay, I once sat in this space and now I'm empowered and it's done, tick. It's definitely not like that at all. So that's the realness of what's alive. And, you know, I'm really committed to having those conversations. So, you know, we spent time together and I was like, hey, you know, well, I'm like, what are you excited about? And is there any fears? And he's like, what about for you? I was like, you know, this is alive for me and I just need you to know. And what I need is for you to be really transparent when you get home about what goes on. And I want you to have the best time and like, just, you know, and he will, and it'll be amazing. And, you know, I trust him and he trusts him and it's perfect. But to get to your question, the comparison piece is like, I felt when you were sharing that there's a piece to, not an analogy, but like a story to share. So two of my girlfriends in Sydney who are amazing and dive deep into the feminine embodiment work, and they take women out to land and help them connect with land, our land, through some ancient practices and principles. And they have channeled an archetype that they call Maven. And a Maven woman is an empowered woman. She knows the difference between when she's sitting in her disempowerment or her like standard, kind of like tapping into like the collective energy of how the feminine sits. And then there's a distinct difference of when she steps in. And if you can just feel in my body when I'm like in the energy, and then I'm like, it's like subtle, but it's fucking potent. And they talk about like she's self-reliant and she is her own medicine and she asks for what she needs. And she like asks for help. And, you know, she's just like embodied and ownership. There's like a full ownership to her feminine, right? And I believe that the practice is the embodiment of this archetype even more, and the archetype of what it means for you to be in your empowered self. And the more we practice it, the more we try it on, the more that it fits and the more that we can kind of live like that. And it's not an overnight thing. In fact, it's a lifetime thing. But when, like, in talking about the comparison piece, it's like when you talked about the empowered piece, when we're not sitting in her, it's really easy to be kind of affected by external circumstances. And we're so sensitive too, just by the way, like, holy shit, we're like psychic sponges a lot of the time, right? Because it's our intuition and our feeling the unseen, and it's like all the things. And we like, lets it fill us up, and we're like, not even ourselves. And we have to kind of like let go of all that, let go of the mothering and all the cords that we have going out energetically to all the people that we're holding in our life, to come back home to really be sovereign. And that's a fucking hard practice, just by the way, especially for mothers. And like, you know, like I know I saw Raylene was on here and she's got 4 girls, like 4 kids. And like having that constant is such a thing. So it's a practice of like coming home. And when we truly come home, and I don't know if anyone on here, like if you spend like a day on your own or some time in nature and whatever that practice is for you to like let go and come home, you're like, this is my truth. This is like my strength. And this is like who I be in the world. And this is my uniqueness. And when we practice trying that on, and I also believe that we need tools to use along that journey to like really reinforce and embody that. And also have people around us that can like mirror and remind us of who the fuck we are and how beautiful and amazing and radiant and strong and kind and empowered that we are, you know. And I think, Lauren, you do this so well. You're such a beautiful embodiment and example of this to me all the time. If something's alive for you, like that's the first thing you'll voice, you know, like, and it'll be like, hey, this is what came up for me and I just need to like share it. And the answer is yes, let's do this thing. And it was just, I love how you do that, like putting voice to it, letting it express. and then being able to step in and even asking, you know, like there's times where I ask of my partner and stuff. It's like, oh, like can you like tell me like what you love about me right now, or can you remind me of my strengths, or, and it's not a shitty thing. He gets to say yes or no. He doesn't have to, but you know, he's like, oh babe, I'd love that. I'd love to remind you that this is what I see. We get to ask that of our girlfriends as well, you know?
And yes to all of that. And I feel like it is so necessary also in that process of coming back home, and, you know, back home into ourselves, because it's not, you know, I think we can spend a lot of time soloing ourselves because we've been taught that we have to be by ourselves, or we have to do it all ourselves, or, you know, all this sort of stuff. And yes, we need to have a certain level of self-awareness, and we also get to see and connect with other people through that, because I feel like we can't do it all alone. We have to do it with other people. So it's you know, there's always like there is sun, there is moon, you know, we need both basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd really love for you to share with everyone what you have. Actually, what else would you like to drop into the space? Is there anything else that you'd like to drop into the space that perhaps people don't ask you enough about, or you'd like to speak into? I'm going to, while you're doing that, I'm going to say hello to everyone who's jumped on. Bree, Renee, Dana, Steph. Oh, beautiful ladies. Hello, hello.
I feel to share that each of us have a unique divine perfection of our life. And the unraveling of your empowerment or your growth, or you achieving and calling in your dreams and what you see for yourself, is on your timeline. And if you are called, I believe that the feminine calls some of us to work with her, through her, for her. And that's just my belief. You can call it whatever you choose. And she will eliminate and set fire to anything in your life that is not serving you for the highest good. And that looks like blowing shit up from time to time. And if we don't listen and we don't embrace that, and we don't allow the unraveling of the divine perfection of our life, then we struggle and we suffer, and it's hard. And once we embrace that belief and trust and know, like if there's a knowing in you. So for example, I've had this bigness within me that I'm here to do things for women in the world for years. And it was scary for a long time. And I would compare myself and judge myself, and why haven't I done this? And I did this program and I didn't fully do the thing, and like I'm not disciplined enough, and like all of the society shit that tells us that we're not good enough. I allowed that to weigh heavy on me and impact my self-confidence. And recently I've embodied in a whole new way, like this is the self-compassion for me is the gateway to self-love. Let that land. Self-compassion is the gateway to self-love, the allowing and the belief that our life is unique and our path is unique, our timeline is unique, and trusting that process and the unraveling is the biggest piece of empowerment for me. And lately I've embodied that in a whole new way, and that fire is coming out, and I feel ready for some of this bigness that I've felt for my entire life. I feel like it's about to drop, and everything has been training wheels and experiences and fucking perfect for that bigness to come through. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to happen overnight, but there's some bigger integration pieces that are about to land for me that I feel. And I'm so ready. And I'm so ready because some of these soul lessons that were really fucking hard, like really hard at the time, have like landed, and I've integrated, and I'm like, this is the divine perfection of my life. And I see that for you, Lauren. I see that for like a handful of women in our tribe that are really being led by the divine feminine, because they're here to do big shit in the world. And if we say yes to the bigness, then the bigness says yes to us, and our soul starts bringing in experiences and stuff to build the capacity in the body to be able to hold the life that we're calling in. And so if you're watching this and you're comparing, or you're in comparison, or why doesn't it look like that yet, just stop and come back to like, how do I want my life to feel, and embody those emotions now, and be like, how do I live even more every day in freedom? How do I live every day even more beauty? How do I live every day with even more strength now? Even if that looks like, last year I was in a retail job. And before that, I'd done like 10 speaking events, and I was like, this thing, like my life has unraveled and unraveled and unraveled. And I chose to work on a makeup counter for 3 years because I got to interact with 12,000 women. And that was part of my journey of standing in front of women time after time after time, and hearing them and feeling them and knowing what they need. And those integrations are with me for life. And I look back at that time as some of my favorite times, because I was so free to connect with like women. I was like this light in the middle of Sydney City, allowing them to come, and pieces of them, they're still in contact with me today. And so my invitation is that it doesn't need to look a certain way, and your way is your way. And the minute that you embody, embrace, and truly live from that space is where everything unlocks, and you'll actually magnetize and call in that life that you know is in there. And you wouldn't see it, feel it, and know it if it wasn't in your future. So keep taking steps forward, and like surround yourself with the people that fucking see you, like the Laurens in the world, and just put yourself in spaces that you're called to. And the more that you follow that, the more that your life will be even more fulfilled and pleasurable.
Can you see how I feel everything running through my body at this point in time, and I have no doubt that the listeners will as well. And if you're watching on the replay, can you just like, I would love for you to drop in what it is that you're presencing, that you're picking up from Jaimee's transmission, because that thing is going to also be the thing that's existing within you. That, oh my God, I feel my body is just everything. Thank you, beautiful. My goodness.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for holding that space to allow that to come through. And that was a transmission. That's just like potent. Or actually, it's up. My mama Earth.
So I'd love for you to share before we close down what you have going on, because I know that you have this beautiful thing happening so soon, and I'd love for everyone to be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah. So, my favorite thing, I love working with women that are, I love working with all women, but I have a deep passion and drive for women that are in the early stages of unlocking some of these integration pieces. And I don't know exactly what it looks for, but these women that I work with have done quite a bit of work, but there's like the feminine integration piece that isn't quite there yet. And that's the piece that we get to unlock together. I think, I'm pretty sure that that's what's coming through at the moment. And so I created this 5-day container, and it's free, right? Like, and it's so much fucking fun because I jump on a live video and this transmission comes through every day, and it's 5 days to real beauty. It's called the 5-day real beauty challenge. And it's 5 days to really unlock and connect to real inner beauty, lasting confidence, and deep self-love. It's the introduction to some of this embodiment work, and we do it through this 5-day container in a private Facebook group. There's soul work and these live transmissions, and it looks like the practical AF stuff. So for example, there'll be a movement practice that's so easy. There's going to be a feminine beliefs, like a beauty beliefs day, where we just dive into like some of the invitations into here, just by understanding what's running in your unique system. I do a makeup demonstration that's like easy as fuck. So you can just upgrade your tools to just step into that empowerment even more. There's like the 7 steps to self-love. And like, if you just follow that alone, like these 5 days, like the piece that I love about this is these 5 days could be the only thing that people do with me, but it's going to activate and unlock them in a way that is just so amazing to tap into some of those like feminine principles and feminine parts of themselves. And that might be the only work they do with me. And that's totally okay. and it's free, and you make connections in this environment, and it's amazing. And then there's a handful of women that are like, oh, they're a full body fuck yes to this work. And then we go on a journey post then. And some of them are watching now, and we've been working together for like 6 months, and it's amazing. And just the unraveling has just been beautiful to witness and hold space for. But first and foremost, it's an introduction into what real beauty is for you. And there's 5 days of practical stuff and fun and making it simple and relatable and easy. And yeah, I light up with the idea of allowing women a space to connect even deeper with themselves. And when they do that, that's when like their life starts to unleash in whole new ways.
Yes. If you are feeling called to that, I would highly, highly invite you to drop into that. I did Jaimees, I think it was the very first one that you put out. And I remember being like, what the fuck is like, this is just like, this is juice. This is full juice. Like there was so much to it. So and like, you know, like she said, it's free. So, oh my goodness, you've got nothing to lose if you are looking for whatever Jaimee has projected and not projected, transmitted to you today. If you are feeling the call, this is the answer for that. And it is life amazing. It is life amazing, Krishna.
Christmas is life amazing.
Absolutely, exactly that. And yeah, you feel the pull, trust the pull. That's all I have to say with you. If you're feeling the call to work with Jaimee. Oh yeah,
it starts Monday. That's the thing I didn't say.
The link on Monday in the description and in the comments below, so you can, whoever's watching this, you can jump on over and click in. And you know, it's one of those things where if it's not for you, then it's not for you. If it is for you, jump in, and you just get to try. You just get to try, and that's all you have the choice around, basically, is to say yes to you or to continue doing what you're doing. Oh my gosh, my body is alive right now.
Mine too. I'm so excited to go into my day.
I want to really thank you. Yes.
I've got one more thing on the challenge. One more thing on the challenge. If 5 days feels overwhelming or too much to commit to, don't worry. Come. You might watch one video or see one post, and that might be the thing for you. So don't let the fact that you can't commit to the whole thing, or it feels like too much, or if you don't like makeup or don't wear makeup, fuck that. That's 1 day, and it's an opt-in. It's an invitation. You get to opt out. And I know that there'll be something, if you're called, there'll be something there for you, but don't stop yourself if you're feeling like you can't commit to the whole thing or you don't want to show up or whatever.
I'm so glad you presenced that. Yeah.
All I needed to say.
I want to really take this moment. I feel like we have many moments of this, but I really want to acknowledge you. I want to fucking acknowledge you for stepping in to the fear, for saying yes to yourself. And I know there have been some moments that you haven't shared on camera that you have been through outside of this, that you've had to say yes to yourself to and step through and be courageous and choose yourself. So I want to honor you for constantly saying yes to yourself, for constantly being that beacon for yourself and women around you and men as well. I want to acknowledge you for holding, for being a safe space, a powerful and loving and compassionate and trusting space for everyone who comes into contact with you, and for fucking unleashing the potency. Oh my God, more and more as you step into this work of yourself. And thank you for choosing you, because it feels so beautiful for us to receive each little piece that you uncover. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Oh, it's like water to my body.
Received.
Thank you, beauty. I love you so much.
Beautiful woman. Thank you. Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much for that glorious acknowledgement and for showing up and stepping into the fire over and over and over again. Sister, I really mean this when I say we are hand in hand, side by side on this mission for life. And that goes to all of you watching too. If you feel the call, like we're in this together. We're in this together. And we have a divine responsibility and it's such an honor. It's such an honor to say yes to that responsibility. It's beautiful. So thank you. Thank you for being the vessel always.
My gosh, Jaimee Leigh Curtis, everyone. Oh, my goodness, my goodness. I feel like I'm going to reach through the screen and give you a hug. Oh, I can't touch you. Oh. All right, everyone. Thank you, my love. And if you want to stalk Jaimee, I have added her details in the comments, in the section, in the description, and you can jump over and see what she's all about. And yeah, see what other juicy goodness she has for you. I hope you have a great day, everyone. And thank you, my love, again for joining. I love you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you, everyone. I love you too. Yes. Yeah. I wish everybody watching a beautiful day. And I look forward to when our journey
have a beautiful day, everyone. Lots of love.
Thanks for watching.